What's up, guys? Noah here with the Academy of Relational Knowledge, and today we're going to talk about 5 myths about love that we've all fallen for at one point or another. Let's get started. Love is a strange thing. If I were to ask all of you, what is love? Chances are you guys would all have pretty similar answers, but also answers that are very, very different. Love's just one of those things that's kind of hard to articulate, like the word anem.
Okay, don't hurt yourself.
Nan, anon. Most of us want to love, and most of us want to be loved. It's actually a basic human need to feel a sense of belonging or love. But often in the act of loving or seeking love, we find ourselves getting burned a lot more than we're getting loved, which is contrary to what pop culture usually tells us about what is supposed to happen. Some of us might believe that love is only true in fairy tales, meant for someone else, but not for us.
What's the use of trying? All you get is pain. When I wanted sunshine, I got rain.
Here's why we all feel that way at some point or another. Like I said before, we've been fed a lot of information about what love is, what it's supposed to look like, what it's supposed to feel like. And the fact of the matter is that most of what pop culture teaches us about love is not only wrong, but it's actually dangerous. Believing these dangerous myths can actually be the difference between healthy and harmful relationships. So, without further ado, here are 5 myths about love that have fooled us all. The feeling of falling in love with someone is beautiful and I highly recommend it. However, you do not magically fall into love all at once. Love is cultivated, not conjured. It's like a plant. Like it starts small and then you nurture it a little more and then it grows. The answer to "do you love me" can be a lot more complicated than a yes or no answer. That being said, love is something that evolves over time. It would be impossible to draw a line in the sand to illustrate when you officially love somebody. Love is more of a spectrum, and your commitment to an individual is often dependent upon where you fall within that spectrum. This one for me is probably the most frustrating out of all of these myths that are being perpetuated. So many people have bought into this idea that sometimes you just fall out of love as if it just happens and there's nothing you can do about it. In fact, falling out of love is being reported as a very common reason for divorce. I will tell you right now that if you fall out of love, you are doing so by choice, not by chance. Love is more than a feeling. It's way more than a sexual feeling. It's a verb. It's a choice that you make every single day to be and act selfless for someone else. True and lasting love is intentional. It's not something you find. It's not something that drops in your lap. It's something you choose to create with another individual. And sometimes you choose not to create with an individual, which is totally healthy and totally okay. But it is a choice. So if you feel loving feelings waning for somebody in your life, don't throw your hands up in the air and act like you're a victim of some strange, unexplainable phenomenon. Make a choice one way or the other and then take responsibility for that choice. While I do love the Beatles, the idea that all you need is love in order to have a healthy relationship is just not entirely true. It can be very misleading, especially if we're using the noun definition of love, which is an intense feeling or deep affection. Don't get me wrong, The feeling of love is super powerful and can spark amazing things in individuals and communities all around the world. But feeling love is not this magic force that absolves us from any and all responsibilities to act for ourselves. Like I said before, true love is intentional, and it's a verb, which leads to many more important things in a relationship, like taking initiative to know each other, to trust each other, to rely on each other, to commit to each other, and to touch each other. These are actually the 5 bonding dynamics of Dr. John Van Epp's relationship attachment model, also known as the RAM. This can actually be found in his book, How to Avoid Falling in Love with a Jerk. I will put the link in the description below of where you can buy this book. It's phenomenal. I highly recommend it. The RAM is definitely a subject I'm going to be covering in future videos, simply because it is a very useful tool in assessing the health and overall just the state of our relationships. But anyways, we need to have a lot more than just loving feelings in our relationships if we want our relationships to be happy and healthy. This one is similar to myth number 3, but it is slightly different. Just because you love someone does not mean that they are good for you. The presence of loving feelings is not always indicative that you are in a healthy relationship. This is especially true for those in abusive relationships. Your head is just as important as your heart when it comes to this kind of stuff. Let them work together as you make decisions. Like I said before, there's a lot more that goes into being in a healthy relationship than by simply loving each other. Just because you love someone does not mean you should feel compelled to keep them around if doing so is causing you or others more harm than good. Though I hated hearing my mom tell me this when I was in the dating game, there are plenty of fish in the sea and you will fall in love with someone else. Which actually leads us to myth number 5. Listen, if you want to believe that you were predestined to be with one person and one person only, and that it's your quest in life to find that person and live a happy life of sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows together, be my guest. But it's not exactly the most practical approach when it comes to seeking love. In 2019, the population of Earth was estimated to be around 7.674 billion. So, if there was one person that you are destined to be with, you would have a 0.000000013% chance of finding that person. So, in my opinion, even if there was the one out there for all of us, a far more practical and likely to succeed approach would be to find just a good human being that you like, you're attracted to, and just roll with it. You know what I'm saying? You'll have a much greater chance of relationship satisfaction doing that and working on becoming each other's soulmates than you will by combing through the billions and billions and billions of people on the planet to find one person that's perfect for you. Okay, so by now you're probably feeling like Steve Carell's daughter did in Dan in Real Life.
You are a murderer of love!
But let me just end by saying this. Love is a beautiful thing that we can all enjoy. In order to enjoy love to its fullest capacity, it's just important that we approach it and go into it with realistic and true expectations. Trying to fit a square peg into a round hole will ultimately end in frustration. So, as Dr. John Van Epp puts it, try to follow your heart without losing your mind. Peace out.